Hey, this is Semmie and we are back. I promised to do a YouTube channel review of one of my favorite albums of last year, Rosie by Rosé. It was definitely a surprising album, to say the least, to actually get towards the end of the year. It was a good surprise, especially like right before Christmas. So definitely the gift I kept on giving. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but this is actually gonna be my first reaction. I did listen to it before, but I actually never did a full reaction to it on my YouTube channel. But I remember when it first came out, I did go through the whole entire album, and I was definitely blown away at how good her songwriting was and at the level of, I know people said that it wasn't versatile, but to me there was some versatility there that I personally believe that shows Rosé's range in terms of vocals and in terms of genres, and even more so in a pop realm and a little bit of like rock and a little bit of like folk, and definitely acoustic and from a singer-songwriter point of view. So I thought that this album was actually really a great win for her, for sure. So I'm ready to get into it. But before I get into it, what I do with my album reviews is that I tend to categorize the songs into 3 different playlists that I have and that I currently do all my album reviews based off of. So first is going to be a Sexy Club Pony playlist, which is kind of like upbeat club type songs that you can dance to, that you kind of want to play for the weekend in order to get ready for the club. The Romantic Night for Two playlist, which is more of a stay at home with your bae, get it on type of playlist. It's very much more romantic. It is definitely also more soulful and just a little bit more lovey-dovey type of songs that kind of you want to share with your lover. And I would say the Sassy Moody playlist, which is the playlist where it's a little bit more about you and about stepping into your power, self-love, also inspirational, elevational, and also some of it is just really talking your ish, like talking about, you know, talking your ish about you, or about what you did, or what somebody did to you. It's not necessarily upbeat. It's kind of like melancholy or mid-tempo. So I would say it's like in between. It's not really slow, but it's not really hard hitting like a club beat type of track. So those are my 3 categories. Let me know if you feel like there should be like a 4th one, and then I'll kind of create that, and then I'll put the links below for all the different playlists right here. You can see actually this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. All right, so this is SemmieSings album review of Rosie by Rosé. All right, let's do this. So when it came to Number One Girl, I actually did a music video review. So for the singles that I already kind of did a music video reaction to, you can kind of see where I put this one in. But automatically, this is definitely going into the Sassy Moody playlist. It's more emotional. It's talking about her vulnerable side of wanting to honestly be seen as the number one girl. And personally, I feel like she already is. This kind of song was released a little bit after Apata, and it kind of really dictates that she really was that number one girl, because she was like charting for weeks on end once Apata came out. So Number One Girl, definitely Sassy Moody playlist. It's definitely one of my favorite. It's the best, in my opinion, best ballad of this whole entire album, hands down. But listening to 3 AM, I definitely hear some even inspirations from Rihanna, but also some other acoustic indie vibes that I kind of, once again, really sets the tone with Rosé's brand. For me personally, I thoroughly can see that this song automatically would go more into the Romantic Night for Two. I see the longing, and it kind of even feels like a precursor to Toxic Till the End, in a sense of like seeing the red flags in the beginning, but then also realizing like I still want it to be you, and then kind of under, I would say, really downplaying the red flags that you see, because you're also kind of questioning, is it really that bad? And you see her kind of already doing that in the first verse, where she literally says, because is it gonna pretend I didn't see that, because is it really that bad? I need you really that bad. And so you kind of see that there is this need to kind of not really want to believe this person could be toxic for you, because I mean, of course, you like this person, you kind of eventually believe the best in this person. And so there's a likelihood of you just not seeing the red flags and being blinded by desire and kind of just honestly wishing the best out of this person. So, and that's fair. So I think this is definitely one of those playlists that I still, despite, you know, it being questionable about like the person that you're into, about like whether they're right for you, I still think it's a good romantic night for two type of song, because it's still saying I still want you, and it's gonna be you. So I think this is definitely a good one, romantic night for two. Comes to 2 years, I genuinely honestly enjoy that one. I actually wanted it to extend even more. This is the one song that like when you listen to it, you're like, oh my goodness, I want more. I'm actually mad that it ended. I actually wanted it to like keep going, and I wanted it to repeat definitely a couple of times. I think it's so good. I actually think that the writing for this is one of the best that I've seen personally off of this album, because there's something about this that I feel so emotionally tied to it. I think Rosé is really good at putting her emotions through her lyrics. And even just saying, I try. That part is so honest and very simple, but you don't usually hear those type of like lyrics like that. It's so direct and honest, but also catchy at the same time. And I kind of love that about this song. That's why a lot of the phrasing and a lot of the lyrics hit so deeply, because you don't have to really try hard to emotionally connect with her lyricism. They just already are. And I think that's the same thing that I feel about Number One Girl. Like there's such a deep vulnerability there without too much metaphors. It's very, very direct and simple, but at the same time, the way that she also vocally performed it with I try, it definitely, you feel her effort in also trying to get over this person through the lyricism of the song itself. And I find that really, really interesting. And that's why I also think this should definitely go into the I would say, yeah, the sexy moody playlist for sure. Talk Until the End, yes. I believe I put it in also the sexy moody playlist. If you want to see the review of that, you could also see it on my channel right here, which I did actually like last week. Enjoy, and I definitely feel like this is definitely going to sexy moody playlist. This is definitely going to the sexy moody playlist. Thumbs up for this one. The other songs were kind of like a preview of what this song kind of really, I feel like, nails in a coffin about what happened in this relationship. So it's actually really, really interesting. Drinks or Coffee is definitely one of my favorites also as well. This is one of the ones that I had, just like I said earlier before, this was one of the songs that I had in my everyday playlist. This one, Talks Until the End, Apata. Drinks or Coffee I think it's just so flirty, and I think honestly, in my opinion, I think this could be also in the Sexy Club Pony playlist. I personally feel like it's a jam. I feel like you can dance to it. I've seen dance challenges. I feel like for me, it gets me want to turn up, but also gets you kind of like in a flirty mood to go to a party. Because even she says that like for some reason she feels good like at a bad party. And it's probably because like this person, just the mention of this person's name, or even just seeing them, it could be even a new guy or whoever the person is, kind of just made you happy to go to this party, even though you probably were like regretting it like when you first came because it just seemed dull. But the prospect of meeting this person and also possibly seeing them again, giving your information, you're obviously both being flirty, but you're trying to keep it cute, you're not trying to be too forward, is that kind of like what this song is. So I think Coffee is definitely Sexy Club Pudding playlist, and definitely one of my favorites, and hopefully it's yours too. But Rosé was definitely feeling herself and was getting a little bit flirty with this one, and I kind of like it. Everyone knows Apata, best song, like I said, is also my favorite too as well, which is why I tried it so high. For me, like I said, I think Drinks or Coffee kind of sets up for Apata in terms of like the story, because I definitely see even the cohesion of also the tracks. It's starting to also show the storyline, right, of like the previous ex, toxic till the end, then Drinks and Coffee, kind of like with somebody who could have been a previous ex, or even just a new or an old friend who you kind of have tension with, but then now that maybe something was established after coffee, you know, after a little get together with coffee, now you're thinking about the apartment or the Apata or this game that you guys are probably doing that kind of instigates and kind of, no offense, but clarifies that there is sexual tension. I don't know why I'm saying no offense, but clarifies that there is sexual tension, because now you want to give kissy faces to this person. You want them to come over and you want them to go, you know, to your apartment. Beginning of the chase has now begun, essentially. And so that's where I got from Apata, where it's like, I want you to want me and don't you want me like I want you. And so, which kind of is an extension of the Drinks or Coffee situation that I saw in the previous song. So the storyline is kind of becoming clearer as this album is going, as we're going through this album. It's kind of really interesting to see, like, it first starts off as like with her previous ex, and then it goes with like this new party situation with Drinks or Coffee. And then now we're seeing Apata and kind of like this playful like banter between this her and this person or this new individual, or even let me know in the comments if you feel like it's still the old person. And maybe as I'm continuing to progress with this album, I'll eventually get the answer. So when it comes to Apata, it's a Sexy Club Party playlist. It's a banger. It's a party joint. I've turned up to it at a party. I've seen it. People turn up to this at a party. It's definitely, hands down, a Sexy Club Party playlist joint. So definitely through Game Boy, I got more clarification about Apata. So yeah, this is about the same ex from Toxic Till the End. This kind of goes back into, yes, Apata, she's kind of like inviting him back, but at the same time, I also see like the shame aspect that's there with herself as well. Because definitely in the break, she kind of also acknowledges that like she should have known better, but she's also kind of like, oh well, that already happened, but I definitely no longer feel like you and me are together forever. And so there's also kind of like this like kind of carefree attitude, and kind of throwing the loss to the wind, because like you kind of hear what she says, I let you play me, whatever. Some things just aren't meant to be. And so it did take her 2 years to realize that. And so she's growing up and she realized that she doesn't want to play anymore, and this person's clearly all full of games and playing with her emotions and kind of setting up certain things and scenarios in order for him to also get closer to her. He definitely was what I also had said before, a master manipulator in that sense, and it took her a while to kind of realize that. But she also is clear and she kind of wants to move on. I already know that I'm growing and that you'll only ever be a Game Boy, at least to me, right? So there's that. I stay a little longer. It has more of a ballad feel, so that's definitely Romantic Night for two, even though it is a little bit heartbreaking. It is a beautiful ballad, and I can't deny that. It's definitely one of the second beautiful ones I've heard off of this album. Number One Girl is definitely number one, but just like Number One Girl, the emotions for this one are so deep and very, 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 very riveting and strong. I automatically feel sad, and I think just like Number One Girl, it's very clear and very direct, the emotions with the lyricism. Like, she's really good at capturing emotions and putting it very plainly on the table for you to interpret. In fact, I don't really feel like there's much to fully dissect. I truly feel like word for word I get exactly what she's saying, and I think that's really, really what's refreshing about this album. It's very clear and deep, but also emotionally it always takes you there. And sadness and the element of knowing that this is toxic, although I know it's toxic, I still want you to stay a little bit longer just to enjoy. Instead of also from Apata like being in these four walls that you now invited him to, now also begging him to stay in these four walls, even though you do know that he's a Game Boy, right, from the previous song. And so there's that war that you have within yourself, and I'm definitely seeing it with Rosé with this one. If not the same, the vibe that I got is it's kind of obvious that the person is coming back, or at least kind of claiming that they're different. And he may not be directly coming back to her, but also realizing like throughout the course of the events that's happened, especially coming from Stay a Little Longer. I'm getting a sense that she's trying to find blame. You're the one that fucked this up. You're the one that kind of changed overnight, saying that you were gonna love me right, but you're talking in circles. You're claiming that you're gonna be different, or you're claiming that you were gonna be better, but no, you're not, and no, you're not the same person that you said you were. And even if you are coming back, you're clearly not the same, because all these other things that you've been doing, and also all the things that you've been promising, you also promised before, you probably didn't fulfill them. And so there's kind of this element of like, you know what? Yeah, come by and come get your keys and come get your stuff. And so it's like, drop your keys, come get your stuff. There's also this element like, you know what, never mind, like, you're not the same, you can come, you can drop your stuff, it's over. And so I think there's like a bit of like an awakening there with Not the Same with Rosé in this one. But definitely this song is going into the Sassy Moody playlist. Sassy Moody playlist for sure. All at the end is kind of the nail in the coffin, because it's like, okay, how do you now move forward? Do I call you my ex? Do I call you my boyfriend? Do I call you a lover? Do I call you my friend? Do I call you the one? Or do I call you the one that got away? Or do I call you someone to just have to forget, he who or she shall not be named? Call you every night that you're gone? Or do I not call you ever again? Do I block you? Like, what are the actual pragmatic and practical steps to actually moving on? Once you do call at the end, it's kind of like, okay, what do we have to do? Because there's work to actually put it to end, kind of like with moving to another place from another place. That's what Call at the End is essentially, trying to figure out the broken pieces and how to move forward from that. Like Rosie's trying to figure that out through this song, which is really, really clear. Call at the End. This is definitely heartbreaking. I would definitely put it in, I would say, Sassy Moody playlist. This one's definitely a heartbreaker and a tearer. I think Too Bad for Us is kind of like almost understanding that there are bigger things at play besides you guys as a couple, understanding that like there's kind of like once again a growth here in terms of Rosé's mentality when it comes to love. That yes, there were some mistakes that were being done, but there's also kind of like this element of fate as well. Two heads in the sand. I hear you talking, but I just can't understand. And that's kind of what seems to kind of happen with a lot of the things with this relationship. Maybe the communication, like there was a lot probably lost in translation. Neither party's really listening, but they're hearing each other. And so clearly there is some type of element within both of them that are just not able to receive each other that well as to what each other needed. And these things crept up on us as time went by. It was probably a comfortability there that allowed for a lot of things that were red flags that she kind of just didn't think it was that bad, but eventually later on seemed to be a really big issue. So we want to talk, but we don't want to listen. We play pretend, but we don't know what's missing, and so, or we don't know it's missing. There's elements of that she kind of already knew that it was kind of getting toxic. Too Bad for Us definitely feels like a reconnaissance, and also having your hands up and realizing like, yes, it was, I could blame you and I could blame me, but also it could be an aspect of like, we're also victims of a fate that's also beyond us. Some things are just not meant to be, and so there's that element there. So I definitely feel like this is a Sassy Moody playlist once again, because it's very melancholy and definitely more of an introspective type of song as well. Dance All Night. I feel like Dance All Night once again is definitely her post the breakup, and simply just her also kind of realizing like, taking it all in, the sun, the chirping birds, and then kind of having like a little conversation with herself and with the birds and kind of the sun, and kind of realizing like, you know, I wouldn't be so in my head, and next time around there's gonna be 3 words that she's gonna carry with her throughout this experience, which is be spontaneous and better with trust. And so I see that she's definitely grown from this experience, and I think that's also one thing that we should also, you know, kind of think about with relationships, that none of it's like to waste. It's also elements of personal growth, spiritual growth. And so this track is definitely kind of a mood lifter. It's kind of like upbeat, kind of good feel type of song, but still chill at the same time. So therefore I would put this category into the melancholy, still moody playlist, but it's still not sad. It's just more of, once again, introspective and kind of speaking and telling to yourself about things that you would do, and that you would dance all night, you'll be there for tomorrow, you know, you can dry your eyes, you'll laugh away the sorrow. there's definitely a healthier outlook when it comes to relationships, but also with just how she's going to move forward about this, and that she's not going to obsess about this anymore. And it definitely is the tying of the bow when it comes to this album, and about this experience with this ex, and about herself, and about what she's learned moving forward. This song really captures the actual album's name, which is Rosie, and it's through Dance All Night. And I think that's really, really nice, because it's not saying like she's totally happy, but she definitely feels a little bit lighter, and I think that's what this production kind of feels like. Well done, Rosie, when it comes to this. And this is the last song. So okay guys, that was Rosie by Rosé, Blackpink Rosé. I generally think that this album has such a good way of capturing your emotion. It captures your emotions through the ballads, but also through this straightforward delivery. And also there's some really good metaphors. I think that some of the songs that I personally feel like that made Rosé's lyricism shine the most, in my opinion, were the last four, which was Too Bad For Us. Lyrically was really interesting. Call It The End is another one that was lyrically really, really showcase Rosé's songwriting skills. Till the End, Drinks or Coffee, Dance All the Night. So yeah, Dance All Night. Those four, I think, lyrically for me are the most interesting in terms of like her songwriting. I think that as a singer-songwriter, she really, really has really interesting metaphors, and is really great at having these simple but yet emotionally stirring metaphor. As a singer-songwriter, I personally look up to her in terms of her lyricism and the way that she's able to emote through her music, but also through her lyricism in such a very authentic, simple, direct, but metaphorically interesting way. And I think that's one of the best parts that I love about music and songs, are really actually the songwriting and not just the vocal delivery. So props up to Rosie when it comes to this. But a round of applause for Blackpink Rose. Stay tuned for Lisa's album review. I will be going through on that one, especially after she did amazing performances for Coachella, especially day 2. So this is SemmieSings, and we're out. Bye.